You think your pain is punishment? But what if it's preparation? What if everything that broke you was actually building the version of you that destiny requires? You see, pain was never meant to destroy you. It was never meant to break your spirit or end your story. It was meant to build you. Every challenge, every heartbreak, every moment you thought you couldn't survive, it was all part of the process that was shaping the person you were always meant to become. The truth is, life doesn't shape us in the moments of comfort. It shapes us in the storms, in the silence, in the nights when no one's watching and you're left with nothing but your own thoughts, your own faith, and your own strength. Think about it. When was the last time you truly grew from something easy? Probably never. Because ease doesn't teach us. Comfort doesn't challenge us. Only struggle forces us to evolve. The pain you've been through, the kind that made you question everything, that's the kind of pain that rebuilds your soul from the inside out. That's the kind that forces you to see who you really are when everything else is stripped away. You might not see it now, but every wound carried wisdom within it. Every heartbreak carried a hidden message. You weren't being punished, you were being prepared. You were being trained for the strength you'd need tomorrow. Life was testing your endurance, your faith, your patience. It was teaching you that strength isn't found in avoiding pain, but in learning to rise through it. There were moments, I know, when it didn't make sense. When you were doing everything right, yet everything went wrong. When you prayed and still felt unanswered. When you gave your best and still lost. It's in those moments that life whispers the hardest lessons. Sometimes it teaches you to detach, sometimes to wait, and sometimes to trust. Trust that even when you can't see the reason, there is one. Because the pain you felt had purpose. You see, the strongest people you'll ever meet are not those who've had an easy life. They're the ones who have been broken again and again, but each time they came back stronger, wiser, more grounded. They've lost, but never quit. They've cried, but never surrendered. Their resilience was built through pain. And whether you realize it or not, your pain has been doing the same thing to you. It's been sculpting you quietly. It's been building your endurance, sharpening your perspective, expanding your capacity to handle life. There's something about struggle that reveals what comfort hides. Pain strips away illusions. It exposes the truth about who you are, about what matters, about what's worth holding on to. Pain humbles you. It makes you grateful for little things. It changes the way you see people, the way you see time, the way you see life itself. It's like fire refining gold. It burns away the unnecessary until only purity remains. And I know when you were in that pain, you probably asked, why me? Why now? Why this? But someday you'll look back and realize, and it had to be you. Because only through that experience could you become the person you were destined to be. You were meant to walk through that pain so you could guide someone else out of theirs. You were meant to understand suffering so that your compassion could be real. The irony is, the very things that hurt you the most often become the foundation of your greatest strengths. That betrayal, it taught you boundaries. That loss, it taught you gratitude. That failure, it taught you patience. That loneliness, it taught you to find peace in your own presence. Every piece of your pain carried a gift, a piece of wisdom that could only be earned the hard way. Sometimes pain is just life's way of pushing you toward growth you never would have chosen on your own. Because let's be honest, none of us willingly walk into discomfort. We want things to go smoothly. We want life to be easy, but if it were, we'd never discover what we're capable of. You had to go through the storm so that you could realize you had wings all along. You had to be pushed to your limit to see that your limit was an illusion. Maybe your heart broke because it needed to open. Maybe you lost something because it wasn't aligned with your purpose anymore. Maybe that delay wasn't rejection and it was redirection. Life doesn't take things from you without giving something better in return, even if that better takes time to appear. Sometimes it gives you wisdom instead of comfort, growth instead of ease, strength instead of success. So when you look back at your pain, don't just see what it took, see what it gave. It gave you a new level of resilience. It gave you perspective. It gave you understanding. You don't cry the same anymore. You don't break the same. You don't give up the same. Because you're not the same. The pain built you into something unshakable. And maybe right now you're still in it. Maybe the wound is still open. The question's still unanswered. That's okay. Just don't forget. Even in the moments you can't see progress, you're still growing. Sometimes the transformation is invisible. But one day when you look back, you'll realize that the moments that felt like endings were actually beginnings in disguise. The pain didn't break you. It built you. It stripped away who you were so it could reveal who you were meant to become. And one day you'll look in the mirror and thank the version of you that refused to give up when it hurt the most. Because that version, the one that stood through the storm, that's the one who built your future. Closing line, you had to suffer. Because without the pain you would have never discovered your power. There comes a time in every person's life when it feels like everything is falling apart. You try, you give your best, but nothing seems to go your way. You start asking questions. Now, why is this happening to me? What did I do to deserve this? And it's in those moments that you don't realize something powerful is happening behind the scenes. You're being reshaped. You're being realigned. Life isn't punishing you. It's redirecting you. Because sometimes, before you reach the place you're meant to be, life has to tear away everything that doesn't belong there. It's strange how we, as humans, often resist change. We want things to stay the same people, the same comfort, the same paths. But growth doesn't happen in sameness. Life knows that. So it shakes you. It disrupts your plans. It removes people you thought you couldn't live without. It shuts doors you were desperate to keep open. Not because it's cruel, but because it's clearing your path. Sometimes you're not losing. You're being guided. You see, pain is often life's way of moving you out of places that no longer serve your purpose. You don't grow when everything feels easy. You grow when you're forced to adapt, to rebuild, to rethink. The moments that hurt you were actually the very moments that set you on a new direction. One you might never have chosen willingly, but one that was necessary for your transformation. Every ending is not a loss. Sometimes it's a beginning wearing a disguise. Think about it. How many times did something not go as planned and later you realized it was for your good? That job you didn't get, that relationship that ended, that dream that failed. At the time, it felt like destruction, but looking back, it was redirection. Life was saving you from something you couldn't see. It was pushing you towards something better, something more aligned with who you're meant to become. Pain forces you to pause. It makes you reevaluate what truly matters. It teaches you patience, humility, and faith. Because when everything is taken away, you're left with the truth that your strength doesn't come from circumstances, but from within. That's what life was trying to show you. Every heartbreak, every delay, every disappointment was simply preparation for your next chapter. Sometimes we hold on so tightly to what we think we need that we forget. Maybe life knows better. Maybe that person leaving wasn't rejection. Maybe it was protection. Maybe that failure wasn't the end. Maybe it was life pushing you towards something greater than you could imagine. We can't always see the full picture. We're living in the middle of the story, but life sees the ending. And sometimes what looks like loss is actually positioning. I know it's hard to accept that while you're in the middle of the pain. It's hard to believe that there's purpose in your suffering when all you can feel is confusion and silence. But the truth is, growth is often silent. Change doesn't always announce itself. It happens slowly, quietly beneath the surface until one day you realize the very pain that broke you also built you. The very moment that felt like the end was actually the turning point that began your transformation. There's something powerful that happens when you surrender. Not give up, but surrender. When you stop fighting the process and start trusting it. Because life isn't happening to you. It's happening for you. Every experience, no matter how painful, is shaping you into the person you're meant to be. You can't see it while you're in it, but one day you'll look back and say, that's why it had to happen. That's why I had to go through that. Every scar has a story. And that story, your story, on to carries power. The pain you went through is not wasted. It gave you insight, empathy, wisdom. You now understand things you couldn't before. You can help people you couldn't have helped before. The very thing that broke you gave you a voice, a purpose, and a strength that comfort could never have taught you. It's easy to see blessings when everything's going right. But the real power comes when you can look at your pain and still say, this too is shaping me. This too is part of my journey. Because when you change your perspective, you change your power. You start to realize maybe that closed door wasn't a rejection. Maybe it was life saying, you deserve better. Maybe it was life protecting you from a path that would have limited your growth. Every season of pain teaches you something different. Some pain teaches you patience. Some pain teaches you to let go. Some pain teaches you to trust. And some pain teaches you that you are far stronger than you ever believed. The truth is, no one comes out of pain the same. You either let it break you, or you let it build you. And the fact that you're still here, still standing, means you're being built into something extraordinary. You didn't go through all that for nothing. There's purpose in the process. There's meaning in the mess. There's strength in the struggle. Sometimes what feels like the worst thing that ever happened to you is actually the best thing that ever happened for you. You just need time to see it. Because one day everything will make sense. You'll look back and understand that every heartbreak led you closer to self-love. Every failure pushed you toward growth, and every tear watered the seeds of your transformation. So don't curse your pain, thank it. Because it's not here to destroy you. It's here to refine you. It's removing what's not meant for you so that what is meant for you can find its way. Life is always teaching you. Through joy, through struggle, through silence. You just have to listen. So if you're in that season right now where nothing makes sense and everything feels heavy, remember this. You're not being punished. You're being prepared. You're not being broken. You're being built. The pain is not a barrier. It's the bridge to the next version of you. Every tear you've cried has watered the soil of your future. Every moment you've endured has made you stronger, wiser, and more ready for what's next. And one day when you look back at everything that once hurt, you'll smile, not because it was easy, but because it made you who you are. Closing line. The pain you're feeling now isn't ending your story. It's shaping the strength you'll need to live the next chapter. There are moments in life when everything seems to collapse at once. When the people you trusted walk away, when the things you worked for fall apart, and when every effort feels meaningless. In those moments, it's easy to believe that pain is a punishment, that somehow life is being unfair to you. But what if I told you that pain is not here to break you, but to reveal who you truly are? What if the very moments that made you fall to your knees were actually the moments that began shaping your strength? You see, when everything is comfortable, when everything goes smoothly, you rarely question anything. You don't dig deep, you don't challenge yourself, you don't grow. It's in the struggle that you discover your hidden layers, your endurance, your faith, your purpose. Pain introduces you to a version of yourself you didn't know existed. It strips away illusions. It removes everything fake, the masks, the comfort zones, the expectations, and leaves behind something real. You. When life hits hard, it forces you to make a choice. Either stay down and let it define you, or rise and let it refine you. And those who rise, they find something incredible. They find resilience. They find courage they never knew they had. Because you can't build strength in comfort. You can only build it when you're tested. Think about it. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Gold is purified by fire, and seeds only grow after being buried in darkness. You are no different. The pressure, the fire, the darkness, they're all shaping you into something beautiful, something unbreakable. The pain you're facing isn't meant to destroy you. It's meant to expose the power that's already within you. Every time you go through something difficult, something shifts inside you. You start to see things differently. The things that once scared you no longer have the same power. The people who once hurt you no longer control your peace. You start realizing that your strength doesn't come from avoiding pain. It comes from surviving it. It's strange how pain works. It doesn't ask for permission. It just arrives uninvited and stays until you learn what it came to teach you. And sometimes its lessons are hard. It teaches you to let go when you want to hold on. It teaches you to stand alone when everyone else walks away. It teaches you that your worth is not tied to who stays or what happens. It's tied to who you become through it all. Pain has this quiet way of humbling you. It takes away your pride, your plans, your expectations, and it gives you something far more valuable: perspective. It reminds you that nothing lasts forever, that control is an illusion, and that the only thing you can truly hold on to is your own growth. Because everything else, people, possessions, opportunities, can change in an instant. When you're in the middle of it, you can't always see the purpose. You ask, why me? Why now? But one day, you'll look back and realize the pain wasn't happening to you. It was happening for you. It was life preparing you for the moments you couldn't yet handle. It was building strength, depth, and wisdom inside you that comfort never could. There's something sacred about the way pain transforms you quietly. You don't see it at first, but it changes how you think, how you feel, how you love. It softens you where you were once rigid. It humbles you where you were once proud. It makes you grateful for the smallest things: peace, presence, hope. You start to understand that the things you once took for granted are actually the things that matter most. And here's the thing: life doesn't give you pain without reason. It's not random. Every wound carries a message, every tear carries wisdom. The pain that broke you is the same pain that's preparing you. You may not see it yet, but the version of you that will emerge from this, and that version is stronger, wiser, and more aligned with who you're meant to be. You don't grow when you get everything you want. You grow when you lose something you thought you couldn't live without and still find a way to move forward. You grow when you stop asking why me and start saying, what is this trying to teach me? That's when pain becomes your teacher, not your enemy. Because the truth is, pain will either define you or develop you, and the choice is yours. Every scar you carry is proof that you survived something that was meant to destroy you. It's a mark of victory, not defeat. You may not feel strong right now, but strength is not the absence of struggle. It's the will to rise again after being broken. It's waking up one more time, even when you don't want to. It's choosing to keep believing even when life gives you no reason to. Pain will test you, your patience, your faith, your will. It will challenge everything you think you know about yourself. But once you walk through it, once you face it instead of running from it, you'll discover a power that no one can take from you. You'll realize that pain didn't weaken you, it woke you up. It showed you your capacity to endure, to heal, to rebuild. And here's something beautiful. When you've walked through pain, you begin to see the pain in others differently. You develop compassion. You stop judging people by what they show, because you understand that everyone is fighting battles they don't talk about. Pain deepens your heart. It gives you empathy, not bitterness. It turns your suffering into understanding. You see, pain is a bridge. It connects who you were to who you're meant to be. And once you cross that bridge, you can never go back to being the same. The things that used to break you lose their power. The storms that used to scare you become reminders of your strength, because you now know, if you survive that, you can survive anything. So, the next time life tests you, remember this. You're not being punished. You're being prepared. You're not losing your way, you're finding your purpose. The pain that once felt unbearable will one day make sense. You'll look back and realize it wasn't the end of your story. It was the moment your true story began. Closing line. The pain didn't come to destroy you. It came to awaken the strength that was always waiting inside you. There comes a time in everyone's journey when the pain feels unbearable, when you start asking questions like, why is this happening to me? Or what did I do to deserve this? And in those moments, it feels like the world is collapsing. Like every step forward only leads to more struggle. But sometimes the reason you had to suffer is because pain is the only thing strong enough to push you toward change. It's not that you were being punished. It's that you were being redirected. Because if life never hurt you, you might have stayed stuck in a place that wasn't meant for you. You see, comfort is a beautiful thing, but it can also be dangerous. It makes you settle. It makes you accept less than what you're capable of. Pain shakes that comfort. It reminds you that you were meant for more growth, more strength, more truth. When life takes something from you, when it shatters the plans you thought were perfect, it's not always the end. Sometimes it's life's way of saying, you were made for something greater. Think about the moments that changed you the most. Were they the easy ones? Probably not. They were the ones that tested your patience, your endurance, your faith. They were the nights you couldn't sleep because your mind was heavy with worry. They were the days when you showed up even when your heart was breaking. Those moments, they built you. They taught you things no book, no lecture, no comfort ever could. Pain doesn't just come to make you cry. It comes to make you see. It opens your eyes to who's real, to what matters, and to how strong you really are. Sometimes you lose people you thought you couldn't live without, and it hurts deeply. But eventually you realize that without that loss, you would never have found yourself. Sometimes you face rejection, disappointment, or failure, and at first, it feels like the end. But later you understand that those moments were not rejection. They were redirection. It's like a seed planted in the soil. When it's buried, it must first break open in darkness before it can reach the light. The breaking isn't the end, it's the beginning. You too are being broken open so you can grow. Pain cracks your shell. It exposes your fears, your insecurities, your weaknesses. But once they're exposed, you can face them, heal them, and become stronger than ever before. Sometimes life takes everything away to show you that you were relying on the wrong things. Maybe you were chasing approval, validation, or control. Maybe you thought your worth depended on your success or relationships. Pain strips those illusions away. It shows you that your value doesn't come from what you have. It comes from who you are. And that realization changes everything, because once you've faced pain and survived it, you're never the same. You stop fearing loss because you've already lost and rebuilt yourself. You stop fearing change because you've seen how endings create beginnings. You stop doubting your strength because you've proven to yourself that you can handle what you thought you couldn't. That's the gift hidden inside the suffering. It transforms you into someone wiser, calmer and stronger. Every wound you carry holds a message. The betrayal taught you about trust. The heartbreak taught you about self-love. The failure taught you about perseverance. The loneliness taught you about presence. Every pain had a purpose. Every tear watered your growth. But you only understand it once you stop resisting it and start listening to it. Most people try to run from pain. They numb it, avoid it, or bury it deep inside. But what you run from will always chase you. The only way to end the suffering is to face it. Because when you face pain with awareness, it transforms. It stops being your enemy and becomes your teacher. That's when healing begins. That's when the storm loses its power over you. Sometimes the things that broke you were actually the things that woke you up. They forced you to slow down, to look within, to rebuild your foundation. You learned what real strength looks like. Not smiling all the time, but standing firm when everything feels like it's falling apart. You learned what faith really means. Not believing that life will be easy, but believing that even when it's hard, there's still a reason behind it all. And maybe you don't see that reason right now. Maybe you're still in the middle of the pain, still fighting through the fog. But one day you'll look back and understand. Every closed door, every unanswered prayer, every moment of heartbreak, it all led you exactly where you needed to be. You'll see that the pain wasn't punishment. It was preparation. You'll realize that the things you thought were breaking you were actually building you into someone who could handle the blessings ahead. Because let's be honest, you can't reach the next level of your life with the same mindset that got you here. Growth requires discomfort. Transformation requires pain. The fire you're walking through isn't meant to burn you. It's meant to refine you. When you're in pain, remember this. Diamonds are not made in peace and silence. They're created under immense pressure. Butterflies don't stay caterpillars. They go through darkness before they can fly. And gold doesn't shine until it's been through fire. So why should your story be any different? The struggle you're facing is the forge that's shaping you. The pain you're feeling is proof that something powerful is being born within you. One day, the things that hurt you will become the things that help others. Your story will become someone else's survival guide. Your scars will become symbols of hope. Because pain doesn't just change you, it equips you. It gives you empathy, wisdom, and strength that you can use to lift others who are walking through what you've already overcome. So, if you're suffering right now, don't let it convince you that your story is over. It's not. You're just in the middle of your transformation. Don't give up in the dark. The light is coming. The pain that feels endless today will one day become the reason you shine brighter than ever before. Remember, the strongest people aren't the ones who never fell. They're the ones who fell, broke, and still chose to rise. So rise even when it hurts. Rise even when you don't see the reason yet. Because one day you'll look back and realize this, and the pain didn't destroy you. It rebuilt you. Closing line. Your suffering was never meant to break you. It was meant to awaken the strength, wisdom, and purpose that only pain could reveal. Sometimes the pain you go through is not meant to destroy you. It's meant to redirect you. It's the universe's or even God's way of saying, not this way, not this path. There's something better waiting for you. But because we humans get so attached to our plans, our timelines, our definitions of what life should look like, we often resist. We fight change. We question why things fell apart, why people left, why opportunities disappeared. But what we don't realize in the moment is that these very moments of loss are guiding us towards something far greater. Think about the times in your life when you wanted something so badly. You were convinced that job was perfect for you, that relationship was meant to last, that dream was the only way forward. And then out of nowhere it all collapsed. You were left confused, broken, and angry. You might have even said, why me? But if you look back now, if you truly connect the dots, you'll probably notice that what felt like rejection then was actually protection. You were being redirected to something higher, something that aligned with your growth, your purpose, your destiny. Pain has a strange way of showing us what truly matters. It strips away illusions. It removes people who were never meant to walk your full journey. It destroys plans that were too small for your potential. It burns bridges that would have only kept you trapped in mediocrity. The pain doesn't come to end your story. It comes to rewrite it. But here's the challenge. When we're in the middle of suffering, it's almost impossible to see the bigger picture. We only see what we've lost, not what's coming next. You see, the universe doesn't always give you what you want. It gives you what you need for your evolution. And sometimes growth requires discomfort. Just like a seed has to crack open for the plant to emerge, you have to break in some way for your true self to unfold. The pain is not punishment, it's preparation. It's the universe's way of making you strong enough, wise enough, and deep enough to handle the blessings that are waiting for you. Imagine this. If everything had gone according to your plan, you might still be the same person you were back then. Comfortable, complacent, and unaware of your deeper power. But pain, real pain, wakes you up. It humbles you. It forces you to question your values, your direction, and your definition of success. It's through those sleepless nights, through those moments of feeling lost, that your spirit begins to awaken. You begin to see that maybe life isn't happening to you. It's happening for you. Sometimes you have to lose what you thought was everything to discover what truly is. That friendship that ended, it taught you self-respect. That failure, it taught you perseverance. That heartbreak, it opened your heart to compassion. The pain wasn't the end. It was the teacher that shaped you into the version of yourself you are becoming. Every tear, every disappointment, every unanswered prayer was leading you toward clarity, toward strength, toward transformation. And maybe right now, you're still in that phase. You're still asking why. Maybe nothing makes sense yet. Maybe everything feels unfair. But I want you to hold on to one truth. Just because you can't see the purpose yet doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Purpose doesn't always appear in the moment. It reveals itself in hindsight, when you look back and realize that everything was orchestrated perfectly for your awakening. There's a beauty in brokenness that only those who have truly suffered understand. When you've walked through pain and come out stronger, you carry a depth that comfort could never give you. You see life differently. You empathize with others differently. You stop chasing shallow things and start valuing peace, presence, and purpose. And that shift, that transformation, only comes through suffering. So maybe the pain you went through wasn't random. Maybe it was exactly what you needed to break free from a smaller version of yourself. Maybe it was the fire that refined you. Maybe it was the moment that forced you to rise, to rebuild, to rediscover who you truly are beneath all the noise. Sometimes you have to go through the darkness to appreciate the light. Sometimes you have to lose your way to find your truth, and I know it hurts. Growth hurts. Letting go hurts. But so does staying stuck where you don't belong. The difference is that one kind of pain leads to transformation, and the other keeps you trapped. The choice ultimately is whether you allow your suffering to harden you or awaken you. If you can begin to trust that even your hardest moments had meaning, your whole outlook on life changes. You stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" That's the point where pain turns into wisdom. That's when suffering becomes strength. So the next time life breaks you, don't curse the storm. Maybe it's clearing your path. Maybe it's showing you that you were meant for something bigger than what you were holding on to. Because pain doesn't come without reason. It comes with direction. It's not here to bury you. It's here to plant you. And one day when you look back, you'll realize that the suffering you thought would end you was the very thing that set you free. At some point in life, you realize that your suffering was not meant to make you bitter. It was meant to make you better. The very moments that made you cry, the losses that broke your heart, the silence that felt endless, all of them were shaping a version of you that couldn't have existed without pain. Because the truth is, growth and comfort cannot exist together. One demands your peace, the other demands your courage. And pain is life's way of pulling you out of what's easy and pushing you into what's necessary. You see, every scar you carry has a story, not just of what hurt you, but of what healed you. Sometimes we focus too much on the wound and forget the wisdom that came from it. We say, "I wish it never happened," without realizing that if it hadn't happened, we wouldn't have become who we are now. Every broken plan, every disappointment, every betrayal, they all carved depth into your character. You became wiser, stronger, more empathetic, more grounded. That's what pain does. It stretches your soul until you become someone capable of handling the weight of purpose. Life doesn't give strength as a gift. It builds it through struggle. You don't wake up one day resilient. You become resilient because you were tested. You don't develop patience because life was kind. You learn it because life made you wait. You don't find faith because everything made sense. You find it when nothing did. Pain forces you to grow in ways that comfort never will. It teaches you that you can survive even when you thought you couldn't. It teaches you that your limits were illusions. It shows you that you can start again and still rise. Sometimes we forget that pain has purpose because we're too focused on the feeling, not the forming. But behind every struggle, there's shaping happening. The person you are becoming is being refined in the fire. It's in the hard days that your strength is tested. It's in the lonely nights that your faith deepens. It's when you feel like giving up that endurance is built. You might not see it right away, but every moment of suffering carries silent progress, emotional, spiritual, or even mental. You're being molded into the kind of person who can handle the blessings waiting for you ahead. And you know what's powerful? When you stop seeing your pain as an enemy, it loses its control over you. When you stop asking why me and start asking what now, that's the moment you take back your power. Because pain is not always there to punish. Sometimes it's there to awaken. It's there to open your eyes to truths you were ignoring, to make you realize that the life you were living wasn't aligned with who you were meant to become. Maybe that's why you had to lose something or someone, so you could finally find yourself. The people who go through pain and come out stronger, they walk differently, they speak differently, they love differently. Because once you've been through fire, you no longer fear being burned. You start valuing peace more than popularity, purpose more than possessions, depth more than distraction. You stop chasing things that shine and start chasing things that last. Pain gives you perspective. It shifts your focus from what do I want from life to what is life trying to teach me. And here's the thing. Sometimes the people who hurt you the most were actually helping you without even knowing it. The one who betrayed you taught you boundaries. The one who left you taught you independence. The one who doubted you taught you determination. The pain they caused was painful, yes, but it was also the catalyst that pushed you toward self-respect, toward strength, toward evolution. It's strange, isn't it? How the things that once broke us end up building us. So instead of resenting your past, start recognizing it as part of your preparation. Everything you've gone through was necessary to prepare you for what's coming. You couldn't become the person you were meant to be without those painful chapters. They shaped your mindset. They softened your heart. They sharpened your vision. Sometimes you have to walk through heartbreak to understand love. Sometimes you have to lose everything to realize what truly matters. Sometimes you have to be knocked down to learn how to rise. Pain also teaches you something else, empathy. When you've suffered deeply, you can see the pain in others even when they're smiling. You become more compassionate, more patient, more understanding. You start realizing that everyone is fighting silent battles just like you once did. And this compassion, it becomes your gift to the world. It makes you a light for others who are still in the dark. That's the beauty of healed pain. It turns into wisdom you can share. Maybe that's the real reason we suffer. Not just to grow ourselves, but to help others grow. To remind someone else who's hurting that healing is possible. To tell them, I've been there and I made it out. Your story becomes hope for someone else. Your scars become proof that it's possible to survive what they're going through. That's how pain becomes purpose, when you use it to heal others, not just yourself. So when you look back one day, you'll realize that the pain wasn't random. It was rewriting your life. It was creating a version of you that could stand stronger, love deeper, and live wiser. You'll see that the people who left, the dreams that ended, the nights you cried, they weren't the end of your story. They were the beginning of a new chapter. Pain doesn't mean you're being punished. It means you're being prepared. It means something greater is waiting for you, something you couldn't see before. Every tear had purpose. Every heartbreak had meaning. Every moment of silence was shaping your soul. And when that realization truly sinks in, when you understand that everything you suffered was building you for something beautiful, and that's when you'll finally look back, take a deep breath, and whisper the truth that once felt impossible to believe. This is why I had to suffer. The pain you cursed was the fire that forged you. And when you rise from it, stronger, wiser, unshakable, you'll finally understand. You never suffered in vain.